What's the future of alt media? It seems like a strange question to ask. Most of it is on YouTube, some of it's on small platforms like BitChute, creators like Tim Pool, Sargon of Akkad, or Akkad Daily, as he currently works under, Paul Joseph Watson at Young Turks, although to a much lesser extent given the amount of views that their videos get at the moment, Stephen Crowder, up-and-comers like Mahyar Touzi, to name but a few. Their primary content falls into what some might describe as outrage clicks, mainly targeting existing old media news pieces, tabloid opinion pieces, and government statements. This isn't all they do. There are conversations with thinkers, video essays, primarily from the centre and right, from what I've noticed, and what we might call YouTube drama, the YouTube drama scene between rivals and those chasing clout from attacking larger opponents, with varying success. Whilst the work of these creators is considered popular by the constraints of the bubble of political creators online, compared to the mainstream media, it may as well be a drop in the ocean. Whilst people like Paul Joseph Watson, for instance, trend higher than other news sources, it is just on YouTube. It's not that he's gaining extra clout in other places, whereas all the existing news sources are still pulling in the views and the figures and clicks onto their own platforms. Some creators of sufficient size do make it into old media, but mainly as hit pieces or interest commentaries. It's usually fleeting. They're used as a topic, like a minor celebrity, rather than seen as a serious addition to the media landscape. So what's the future then? How can we get ourselves taken seriously? We're tied to platforms like YouTube that actively promote a select few mainstream sources like CNN and alienate other news outlets, or we're forced off of platforms for controversies surrounding statements made by alt media personalities, which act as the entirety of their brand. Alt media voices have struggled due to bias against the creation of new news sources. Whilst this is the case, I wonder to what degree we in the alt media space are also hampered by the conventions of just the format that we work in. Something trends often not because of an insightful or valued personality or brand making a statement or breaking a story, but because someone saw the headline of a BBC article, rolled their eyes, and then watched their creator of choice provide a commentary on why that article sucked, or why it lacked validity. Alt media creators are also pulling in the busy or the disenfranchised who have given up reading or listening to old media altogether, instead opting to filter that media through their favourite commentator. And therein lies the greatest hurdle to alt media commentators, in my opinion. We aren't making the news, we simply comment on it. Alt media has the potential to recapture quality journalism on a global scale. I truly believe this. It's why I'm attempting to produce my documentary on the grooming gangs, because I think investigative journalism has yet to find true place in alt media, with the exception of people who have had to abandon almost all of their conventional platforms. I look to someone like Andy No and his coverage of Antifa in Portland, for instance, although he's certainly not without fault either. As long as alt media is shackled to the algorithms of platforms like YouTube, it will never gain sufficient traction to be seen as a legitimate media source. While certain things like search engine optimization will never truly go away, alt media does need the means to produce content that people will respect and trust, and it cannot do this whilst its income is dependent on the whim of YouTube, for instance. It cannot do this while it doesn't have the means, contacts, and interest from the public to produce its own stories. Commentary is a necessary part of today's media landscape. It's true. After all, governments make statements, and the job of media is to hold government to account. At the moment, we are holding the media to account because they are not holding the government to account. But this is, in effect, treating a symptom of the problem and not the problem itself. We need to gain access to government officials, conferences and more. We need to investigate large-scale government failures, corruption, that the traditional media is afraid to touch. We need boots on the ground as much as speaking into the microphone. Alt media needs to become a force that has clips taken from it and uploaded to other platforms because it's interesting and engaging. not one that uploads directly to those platforms and panders to their algorithm for fear of going it alone. Until we manage to get over this hurdle, we're just commentating, rather than being a new form of journalist. This is why I support, for instance, the aspiration of Carl Benjamin to move away from becoming a creator on YouTube to founding his own media company, although obviously that's a way off yet. I hope that this has given you some pause for thought. I haven't proposed any real solutions. I've merely highlighted the problems here. But I hope that in the comments below, you'll highlight to me the options that you think are the most efficacious in this regard. Thank you, and have a great day.